Whenever you're ready, Cole, go right ahead. Hi. I'm Cole. I'm a senior. I make video games because it's amusing to me. And maybe someday money will happen. I don't know. We'll see. I like to write on the whiteboard. It may or may not be helpful. We'll see. I'll do it anyway at some point. I'm trying to come up with something to write. I don't actually have anything to write. Alright, so what are the roots of your business? So when I have always liked video games from like as long as I can remember. I was messing around with computers and stuff, you know, and then I think it was in like first grade or something like that, I got a PlayStation 2. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of video games since then. When I was in third grade, I did a course on game design, and it was like a really super simple stuff. So like regularly, the way you program is like you actually like write like actual code. Game Maker is kind of like Scratch, where it's like it already has the code written, you just drag and drop stupid blocks, and it makes it really easy. It wasn't until I was in 5th grade that I started actually messing around with real code, and it was like, these are the same thing. And like I had no idea that was what that even was. So, when I was in kindergarten, I met Jordan Brown. I've been friends with him since then, and I think it was probably in 3rd grade or something like that, we just started talking about, hey, money is a thing. Money is cool. I don't know what we were gonna do with money. Like we didn't do anything. We were in 3rd grade, but money is cool. And so, you know, we tried to talk about different ways to make money. We tried to make little cartoons. We started kind of animating some stuff in 5th grade, and that was like bottom of the line. Like we literally went into MS Paint, drew some frames, and dropped them into Movie Maker, and just slowed them down a bunch, or just like compressed them so they all just kind of flowed. It's not the way you're supposed to animate stuff, but it works. And so, yeah, I don't have a script if you can't tell. Like, that's probably becoming evident very quickly. So, I mean, recently I've started to get like actually really interested in it, specifically indie game development, which just means independent game development. It means you don't work under just a company, which sometimes works really, really well. Last year, an indie game, Stardew Valley, I believe, sold more than Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which is just ridiculous. And also, the amount of, like, the number of people it takes to make a game like Call of Duty, all of that wealth has to be distributed. Stardew Valley was literally one guy, and so he's ridiculously rich now. And comparatively speaking, it's not really more complex than something like Infinite Warfare. It's actually a lot simpler, so in a lot of ways. So that's part of what's interesting about it is just that obviously there is the money appeal there, but not everybody, you know, there are a lot of indie game developers, especially now. It's becoming very evident to people that that's a way to make money. I feel like if you're just in it for that, though, there's a very good chance that you're not going to be one of those people that make a lot of money. And one of the things that I'm really interested in is kind of that mode of like, you don't have to become filthy rich doing it. You just have to survive, you know? You just have to be able to get from game to game to game. There was a great GDC talk by some guy that had been making games for like 11 years and had never had an actual hit. He just keeps making games, and it's just enough to stay afloat. He doesn't have to do anything else. And so he's doing what he loves. He's making money doing it, and I think that's definitely the way to go with that. On the other hand, indie game development is not very reliable, so unless you've been doing it for a long time, which I guess I have, but I'm just now, I think, starting to get like actually notably good at it, maybe. Um, you shouldn't expect to just come into indie game development and make money. And it's the type of thing you really have to have a fallback for. 2 summers ago, I believe, I did an internship at Vin Solutions, which is a Kansas City software company, and that was a great opportunity. It's a huge resume builder, and you make a lot of money pretty quickly just in that little internship because it's software development. If you are interested in coding and stuff, there's a lot of money there, and there are a lot of jobs there too. A lot of jobs. I mean, there are some places where you can walk in and be like, "Here, I've coded stuff. Do you have an open position?" And they'll probably be like, "Yeah." I mean, you have to actually know how to code, but you don't have to be great to get an entry-level job in programming either. So, I mean, that's another great career path, and I think that's an excellent fallback when it comes to this. I'm probably going to end up doing that for a long time because I shouldn't expect to just get enough money to stay afloat from games I develop, at least yet. It shouldn't be an expectation unless it literally has already been happening. So what have we not answered on here? Because that's probably what everyone's doing, is just staring at the sheet and waiting for me to say something. What have I not said?
College. What are you going to do about college?
College is interesting. I'm probably going to go to college. I don't want to, but I'm probably going to go to college. Because it's just obviously I believe it was, okay, so the first year I was working at Vin Solutions, and don't quote me on this because I could be totally wrong. But what I've been hearing, and this goes through my dad first, I never talked about this directly with him, so I'm not 100% sure, and I never prompted my dad on it either, but the vibe I'm getting is that he doesn't actually have a college degree. He has worked his way up the company, and he is managing people, but he's hit a point at which he can't go further because he doesn't have a college degree. It's either that or it's that he doesn't have a master's degree, and I can't remember which. It wouldn't surprise me either way, because, I mean, there are people working there that have, associate's degrees, and probably a few of them don't have college degrees. So, I mean, I 6 months ago, if you asked me where I was going to college, I would have been like, I'm doing 2 years of JUCO, and then I'm going to University of Colorado Springs, where they have a great game development course. And now I'm like, I'm doing 1 year of JUCO, and then I have no idea what's happening after that. I would love to say that, I would love to make a game in between now and the end of the year at JUCO, so that gets successful to the point where I don't have a reason to go to college anymore, but obviously you can't rely on that. So, I mean, go to college, don't spend a ridiculous amount on it unless you absolutely have to, and yeah, that's what I would recommend, I guess.
Have you made any games already?
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of small things, especially lately. We've done these things called Ludum Dare, which are like short game development competitions. It's online, and they'll give you the theme at the beginning of the weekend at for us it's 8 p.m. and then on Friday, and you have to submit your game before whatever time period it is. For the particular version of it that we do, it's 72 hours, and so you have to make an entire game pretty much from scratch in 72 hours. And we've done that a couple of times, and that teaches you a lot really quickly, because it's a lot of people won't just sit down and make an entire game from start to finish. That's just not even something that occurs to you. Honestly, that's one of the best ways to learn it, believe it or or not, is to do it. And so I think that's a really good way to learn that. And we're working on a bigger project. Honestly, we've been working on that for way too long, 2 years or so. I'm about to hopefully upload a demo for like a totally remodeled version of the game, like either by the end of this week or the end of spring break. My previous self-imposed due date on that was like end of January, and then it was end of February, and now, yeah, you can see how this kind of goes. But, yeah, so, like, full games, the only ones I've really made are honestly pretty short ones. But we're working on a full-scale one right now. We're putting a lot into it. So, yeah, super excited about that. I want to have it done before I leave here because I know a lot of people here, and I want to be able to, have the face-to-face interaction there. I think that'd be really cool.
Is your game free, like online? Or?
All the stuff I've made so far is free, yeah. I mean, the one that we're trying to make, the demo that I'm about to put out is a demo, so that's going to be free too. But the full version of the game, we're actually going to try to sell that on Game Jolt, which is like Steam but indie, and then hopefully also Steam and a bunch of other platforms that are literally just spin-offs of Steam. Yeah.
In a world of 100,000 games, what's kind of like the sales pitch, or what's the zag that makes your game stand out?
I hope that it, part of it is the fact that I can say, hey, I'm 18, or, we're two 18-year-olds, we made an entire, actual full-scale game. That's a big part of it, and then I feel like the style that I try to get towards is a big combination of everything that I've kind of, learned about games, everything that I like in a game over the years that I've kind of collected. There are a lot of freemium games and stuff now are becoming very, very popular, and I want to kind of shy away from that, because even though psychologically speaking those are very effective, they're usually effective for the wrong reasons. It's just the Skinner box experiment scaled up, and so I want to try to go in the opposite direction. Yeah.
Do you try and make games that you would think you personally enjoy, or do you try and code a game that you think I could hit a massive market that I think a lot of different people could enjoy?
Well, yeah, for the most part, I think I try to make games that I would enjoy, but it also has to be, marketable, especially when you start making larger scale games. You can't go to somebody the size of Activision and be like, I want several millions of dollars of resources for my little indie studio, for our studio to become a part of Activision and make the game that I'm working on right now. You couldn't ask to do that because they know that it's more hit and miss with that type of thing. So there are, I try to make things that I would enjoy because I feel like those are the things I'd be more passionate about. And I think that's also really important, especially when it comes to marketing and stuff. Especially organic marketing, where you don't have actual money. You've got to be talking to people over social media and really pushing it.
I have two more questions. One is, you've actually tried a lot of different little side hustles.
Yeah.
Do you just want to walk us through maybe 2 of them or 3 of them?
Yeah, so I'm also kind of messing around with some other stuff. I'm kind of interested in I like the idea of being able to get stuff off of either eBay and then resell it for more than what I bought it for, or go to little garage sales and stuff like that. I've also gotten interested in collecting old consoles, And so part of that is just spending money, you know, but part of it's also, so take for instance, I found an N64 with 4 controllers and a whole stack of games for $60, and you can't find that on eBay. That's like at least $30 cheaper than you would expect something like that. Probably more. And I don't want half the games there. And I haven't gotten around to selling them yet, but I might come out even on it and still have an N64 out of it. So I'm also interested in, you know, I feel like I would be passionate going around and looking for consoles and stuff like that. If I find another N64, I'm probably gonna pick it up, not because I want another one, but because I just want to straight up sell it. And I know what those are worth because I mess around with them and I'm looking at them all the time. So
reselling's one.
yeah, that's a big one. I'm kind of getting interested in some other things. Like the one I talked about last time was I'm starting to mess around with music, like digital music. And a big part of that's actually just because I want to be able to make music for games. But I might be able to sell something. I don't know. I think that's kind of actually where I want to go with that, is just making music for games for the most part. But then again, I end up making a lot of songs. It's like, this wasn't for a game, this is just a song. I don't know. Maybe somebody would buy something like that for $1.
Go ahead. I think it was this question.
What is your fallback plan if game development doesn't work out?
Panic. Live under a bridge. Software development is a good place to be. So I either work at Web Solutions or similar software companies. There are a bunch of little software companies all over the place, and they're all pretty similar, I think. I mean, I've worked at one, so, but from what I get, they're all fairly similar, and a lot of the skills transfer over, and so that's my major fallback plan, is definitely software development. Yeah.
What did you do at the software development company?
What do they do there? So, it was an internship, so a lot of it was me sitting there and learning languages that I'd never learned before. You know, so I would sit there and learn, like, what is SQL? How does it work? What is jQuery? How do you use it? But then they would you know, there was a team of a couple little people. I was working with one guy in particular, on just various little projects. A lot of them were actually in-house projects, so they weren't even like things that you develop for consumers per se. It's like there is a product for the consumers, but we have problems here that we want to automate. And so we would write things that somebody else was not gonna write. You know, somebody's not gonna write something to automate somebody else's job, but they could ask us to. And so, and that can happen with some things in software development, where sometimes you don't actually need somebody doing it. You could write software to do it, and so that's definitely a big part of what we did. Yeah.
What's your all-time favorite game?
It changes a lot. I really like Super Mario Galaxy. I used to be really into BioShock Infinite, but it's not as replayable, you know. Inside is a good little indie game. I don't know, those are some of my favorites. So.
Does anybody have any last questions? Okay, I just have one last question, and then I just want to say thank you, because coding is our world. Every time we look at a screen, what's underneath it is coding. This is my question, what would be the fastest way for you to accelerate your game making ability? Is it college? Is it go back to the company?
The
Is
fastest
it
way
do
to
both at the
accelerate
same
my
time?
game making ability would be to literally quit everything and just game dev. And like, honestly, I would love to do that, but it's like, dropping out of high school is generally a bad idea, and not going to college is generally a bad idea. So, there's a part of me that would like to do that, but I don't think my parents would support me very much on that, so they probably wouldn't. Yeah. That
Okay.
would be, and I'm working on it a lot now, whereas I would come home and play video games. Now it's come home and make video games. I've been doing that a lot because I'm getting kind of really excited about this game now, so, yeah.
Thank you, Cole, for a window. into the world.